All right, y'all. We gonna read the panelists' bios real quick. When I read your bio, you can come up to the panel area. First, we have our panel moderator, Mr. Victor Valente, the executive director of Stay Solid, carrying forward the mission of his late mentor and friend Neil McDonald, a champion for mental wellness, community empowerment, and social impact. With a background in nonprofit leadership, advocacy, and program development, Victor is committed to ensuring that mental health resources, education, and support systems remain accessible to Black and Brown communities. His work is deeply personal. Shaped by the loss of Neil McDonald and driven by a passion for healing centered leadership and community care. As the moderator of this panel, Victor will guide the conversation with a focus on legacy, healing, and sustainable mental health solutions in Black communities. Give Mr. Valente a round of applause. Next up, we have our first panelist, Mr. Marcus Polo Pilgrim, musician, educator, and community leader. Mr. Pilgrim, Mr. Polo is a musician, educator, and advocate for youth empowerment, using music and mentorship as tools for personal and community healing. A longtime friend of Neil McDonald, Marcus grew up playing in a band with him and understands firsthand the power of music in processing grief, trauma, and life's challenges. As a mentor, creative leader, and educator, Marcus works to uplift young people through art, storytelling, and personal development, ensuring that Black youth have both the creative outlets and emotional tools to thrive. Through his work, Marcus helps people navigate the intersection of music, mental health, and purpose, showing how creativity can be a tool for resilience, self-expression, and community building. Give our brother a round of a hand. Yeah, yeah. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Zena ZZ Hassan. Yeah, clap it up for her. Ms. Hassan is a mental health advocate and wellness educator. ZZ is a mental health advocate, wellness educator, and community healer dedicated to breaking the stigma around mental health in Black and immigrant communities. Through her work, she is focused on creating safe spaces for Black people to heal, learn, and reclaim their mental well-being. As a speaker, facilitator, and community strategist, ZZ has led initiatives centered around mental health education, providing accessible tools for emotional resilience, wellness advocacy, promoting holistic healing practices within Black communities, community care models, addressing how culture, race, and systemic barriers impact Black mental health. Her work is deeply rooted in justice, cultural competence, and radical healing, ensuring that mental wellness is both accessible and sustainable for the next generation. Give her a round of applause, y'all. All right, y'all. This sets up for a powerful, restorative conversation on mental health and healing in Black communities. I'm going to pass it over to our moderator. It's on you, sir.
Test, 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 test. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We are here. Good evening. I am, like I said before, Victor Valente. I am the CEO and honcho over at Stay Solid on behalf of my brother, the late Neil McDonald. Shout out to you, Neil. Love you, miss you. Quick. Before I get started, this young lady, ZZ, let me tell you how I met her. This was 6 years ago. You were hosting an event at 12 Stories in Southwest. She probably forgot already. She was hosting an event for the Portland Trailblazers. Remember, Lululemon was there. And I was invited by our mutual friends that we have together. And there was some kind of like contest, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna join the contest. I'm not gonna get a damn thing out of it, but I'm gonna try to win the contest. So I'm in the contest. The tickets was going to be like courtside seats, floor passes, food, drink pass, all this stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to text the pledge. It's a sold out event because it's ZZ for God's sake, so I'm not going to get tickets. Dog, why she calls out my name? Why was I sitting courtside for a Wizards and a Portland Trailblazers game the very, very next day with floor seats, food pass, drink pass? So shout out to you for making that happen. I don't know how she finessed it. I don't care how she finessed it. Not my problem. I just know I was there. Shout out to ZZ. Thank you, baby.
We look out for good people.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Sure.
And then Polo. I met Polo years ago. I want to say it was, we were drinking. It was at Liddy in the City. I've known Polo for at least 7-8 years, and it's always been love. When I say he is a vibe, he is a vibe. He is a good time. Every chance you get, if you can come to a Polo function, please visit a Polo function. He will turn you up, not down, every chance he gets. But to the conversation. So as we know, Neil's legacy left a lasting impact in the area, right? So what does it mean to each of you to sit here today with me and have a discussion about mental health?
It just means a lot. Actually, even seeing that video, and it just brought everything back full circle. Like I remember in 2020 when everybody was outside and Neil was on top of the truck, and
crazy times. Crazy times.
And really out there. But just the work that you all have done together and how passionate Neil was. It's like, so many people say this, but it's like Neil, he was a very lively individual. And it's like,
we living live on Wow.
Nah, really. And it's so crazy because, some of the things that he put in motion and the work that he's put in play is still going on. And it's not stopping. So it means a lot for me to be here and be a part of it.
How about you, ZZ?
I personally did not know Neil. I knew him through passing. However, a lot of people in the PG County and DC area are familiar with his work. I am very familiar with the impact that he has created with children, also with good projects, and his lasting legacy. So just to be here and to speak amongst a room who not only love and cherish this person, but it's just such a huge honor. And mental health is everything, especially in our community, in our Black community, and it needs to be.
Say it louder. Say it again. Say it again. Let them hear you. Say it again.
Mental health is absolutely something that is a necessity in our community, especially as Black and brown individuals. So what I've seen of so far, that the work that he's created is not only important, but we shall do everything in our power to continue to take it forward.
Beautiful answer. So first question, let me kick it over to Polo. So you and Neil grew up together, obviously, doing music. During that time, you guys obviously shared a lot of memories, lessons being taught. Give us one lesson that Neil taught you that you still carry today. I know it's a lot. I just need one.
Wow, you dating back to the old days. I'm not gonna say too much.
These are the ones that Darius told me to ask.
But no, well, as far as what I've learned from Neil back in the day is definitely that Neil was one that he would always show up for his loved ones and people that are there. Like a lot of people say bro and fam and bro and all of that, but Neil, if he called you his brother, he meant that. And the importance of showing up for people when you need them. You never know what anybody's going through. But being able to call somebody's phone that one is going to pick up, and then also two, if they can't physically be there, they'll find a solution or some way to support somehow. Just as a man and just in different situations, I'm understanding how impactful that is. And so I understand like how much I'm needed in others' lives, even if, a simple call or a simple text. Those are definitely things that can go a long way for somebody.
ZZ, okay, let's get you in this conversation. So mental wellness is really, really big in the work that you do in your field. What do you think the Black and brown community has the hardest struggle with when it comes to mental health? Is it conversation? Is it knowledge? Is it we don't know what we're talking about? Like, what exactly is it in your opinion?
The biggest challenge we as a community, as a whole, as a race, go through with mental wellness, I will say, stems from lack of resources, generational trauma caused by systemic racism, disparities, equality, and a host of other negative things that I can go down a rabbit hole, but I want to keep it light. We did watch the documentary that was so beautifully made, Darius, so congrats on that. But police brutality as well. These are things that stem the turmoil that we as a race honestly go through as without the resources for mental health. Now, we are in an area, and it's 2025, an era where we have all the resources, even if it is the ability to speak to someone who looks like you as a therapist. So reaching out to professionals that are Black or brown individuals that are able to help you regardless of what it is, whether it's speaking to them, whether it's getting into creativity, music. There's a host of different things that you can do to actually sustain and be in a better mental space. So it's not just therapy. It's music, it's sports, my industry I kind of work in. It is education, which is like prime. The number one thing is being educated. So yeah, I'll finish it off with that.
Okay, so now that you've touched on many different points there. So how do we get to healing? To each of you, what does healing look like in our community?
So healing is, the process of healing is never linear. It's parallels, right? We go through ups and downs. Whether you put your foot forward and trying to get, again, I'll piggyback off of, like, let's say therapy. Let's say you don't want to speak to someone who is a professional that looks like you. You have your friend, your confidant. This is like the first step into your healing process. Not only that, you can also jump into the mindfulness piece, which is what I work in. So that's like meditation, yoga, and different aspects to help you really chime in to your higher self.
Polo?
Yeah, I would piggyback off what Zizi was saying. You have to find create the environment that's best for yourself, and that's even with certain friends and social groups. Yes, therapy is important, but a lot of folks who have been through the therapy practice, I mean, trying to figure out the right therapist for you, or, going through that practice, it might be expensive after you're trying to find multiple different therapists. And I say that therapy is definitely needed, but outside of that, who are you surrounding yourself with in terms of your circles, your relationships? We got to work, so you may have to work with some people that you may not like, but it's like that they're going to be there. So how do you frame your mind from your morning routine, from the music you listen to, from the exercises you do? Do you go outside for a walk for 15 minutes first thing in the day? Little details, and just it's about discipline as well. It is a process. Healing is a process. It's not just, oh, I got here, I'm healed, I feel better, now I'm good to go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
yeah, right. Real. Cut it out. Yeah, right.
So the entire process of it all is I almost like gamifying your life, in a sense, and then putting things in place and people in place that will help support that and remind you of who you are.
And lastly, it's what you come home to as well, because you did touch on that. So whatever happens internally, literally at home, within yourself, also proceeds outwards.
Okay. let's shift gears. So, you both obviously are leaders in the community. People know who you are. You got clout, name, status, IG followers, all of that. Being a leader is great. However, comma, semicolon, we all know it takes a toll. So how do you two protect your peace?
Oh man.
Well, I'm sure people are coming to you all the time asking for advice and in your ear, because again, both of you are leaders in your fields, in your industry. So how does Polo and ZZ keep our mental kind of like controlled?
So I just said it's a process. It is a process. I'm at a season right now in business, where it's just like people will constantly ask you for things, and a lot of people will ask you for things all the time. It's not, sometimes people aren't, how you doing, any of that. They just want something from you. And as a leader and in certain spaces, it is your job to get it done. If that's the brand you set for yourself, if that's the standard you set for yourself, if people know you as that guy or that woman, then you're the person to get the job done. It goes back to being disciplined with my environment. Like, I've noticed that I've gotten caught up in so many different things and trying to, in a sense, like almost people please. And that definitely doesn't help. I've kind of pulled myself, I pulled myself further away from my solid circle and people that I know that can support me, that love me, and that inspire me, because you're trying to help everybody. Big part of what I'm looking at is learning, staying focused on what my mission is, what I need to accomplish. I can help who I can help, but part of loving myself and completing the mission is by saying no. So that is also a part of the process, is learning how to say no, and when to say no. So, yeah.
ZZ.
Thank you. That was great. So I am, by default, a wellness specialist, a yoga teacher. We work in the space of the NBA, the NFL. I just worked with Gervonta Davis, Tank, for his fight to help him get ready. So that to say, my organization, we pour a lot of energy into folks, like day in, day out. So pouring that energy back into yourself comes from again, like what he said, who you surround yourself with, what really brings you joy. You have to identify that one thing that truly, or a couple of things, whatever it is, that truly brings you joy, whether it's family, unconditional love, meditation, and first and foremost, prayer. So I'm big believer in faith, whatever faith you're in. It's Ramadan for us, so a Muslim. But you have to have a relationship with some type of higher power. And then honing in on yourself. If you're able to pour that energy onto your loved ones, your friends, the people around you, always remember to pour it back into yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
That's a word. Clap it up for that. Clap it up for that. Clap it up for that. That's a word. That's a word. So I feel like the pandemic triggered a lot of thought, emotion, trauma, drama. We were locked inside for a while. We were in these four walls, and when you outside, I was outside. I'm still outside. But when you were inside, I was outside. I'm not gonna lie, I'm outside now. When you're outside and you're locked inside, you're not used to that. So it does make you kind of like, well, damn, like I'm stuck here. Mental health, to me, in my humble opinion, was always a part of the conversation. However, semicolon, it became a thing during the pandemic that we don't talk about. So my question is, how do we contribute to romanticizing the conversation around mental health as a Black community? Ladies first.
So the video that you guys just showed, it really brought me back to 2020. We really went through that shit, guys. Excuse my language. But we really went through a very trying time, a very questionable time where we questioned humanity, you know? And we went through a lot of trauma. We went through a lot of pain. We still are. But we went through things that, in the grand scheme of things, we're here today, we're alive, we're healthy, we've beat a pandemic, an epidemic. Now, as far as gearing it back to mental health and wellness, having these open conversations, that's the first step, is to really be transparent about what mental health really looks like. So again, we discussed the therapy, we discussed the holistic, the naturopathic, and so forth. But doing things that I think bring joy is always a great way to target mental health.
Word. Paulo, talk to me.
I definitely want to say I agree with like spaces like these. I mean, just having a conversation, bringing people together, but like not making it so tense or, it's sometimes, mental health, especially with black men, it can be a taboo topic. We don't want to get too vulnerable. We don't want to, talk about that. But sometimes you never know what anybody's going through. So if we have spaces that are a lot more relaxed to bring up the conversation. With my company, Great Energy Group, we do a lot of events, nightlife parties, brunches, day parties, all of that stuff. But what we also do is we do yoga events, we do wellness events.
Hire me.
We gotta get that budget right.
I just want to party. Don't hire me. Just invite me to the party. I just want to. I want to be outside.
I'm trying to get to the trail. Nah. But no. So and we do yoga. We have golf events coming up. We do a number of different things that when I was younger, I'll be real. When I talked about doing some of these things, I was teased. I don't know. That's white folk stuff, or that's not for us. As a man, what you doing, man? Yoga for the girls. And like the bigger part of it was about like getting to this vulnerable side. Like it's nothing wrong as a man. You know what I'm saying? If you're able to go down and you can work out and you can like you can calm your mind. Because then when you're not afraid to do that, then somebody says, hey, have you spoken to anybody? You might not be as defensive when that question comes up. So I think it's having spaces and conversations like these, but there's a lot of different things that black folks weren't normally into. Let's get into those things because then we'll get into the next conversation and the next thing, but it just kind of breaks down some of those barriers that we've held up for so long.
And as Darius says, that's the brave space, not the safe space. So yeah.
So let's get personal. Don't got me. I won't dig too deep, just the surface level. Psych. So I'm about to get her. Let's discuss personal trauma. Tell me a time when you were going through a mental health crisis and or struggle that nobody in this room would think you went through by seeing you today. This time, I want Polo first. Because you scratched your forehead like you was like, don't come to me. No, you're first.
I will say this.
We want details.
No, so there was, I can say it that there wasn't just kind of a one time. There were 3 different situations that happened that kind of, I felt like something shifted in my mind. And how you mentioned earlier during the pandemic, we were like locked inside. I felt like I was locked inside my mind. And so I could not, it was difficult to get out and reach out and like ask for help or talk to people or tell folks what's wrong or, even communicate that. So the first time, there was a situation that took place on in DC where I had seen it was a lot going on in DC, and I had seen two individuals, two younger children, get shot, and they were actually shot by another child, essentially. And just seeing that happen right in front of you, and then that same night there was another younger individual who had died due to gun violence. And so just kind of when you saw that situation, you saw the paramedics kind of step away because there was nothing more they could do. You saw the young girl laying in the street. You kind of, it flipped your mind, and you, like a lot of the songs and the music and the things that we listen to and kind of what we hype up or whatever, it hit different after that. And so doing events or being in a certain environment where a lot of music is played, you know, a lot of kind of vulgar music is played in certain spaces, it really hit different. So during that time, I was like battling with trying to be like with being in this space, but also kind of like still processing like what I had seen, and just not really understanding how to really cope with that, or how to, you know, like, it's unfortunate because I felt like I felt helpless in that situation. Like those are, you know, young black kids, and it's like, you know, what do you do? And so that constantly played in my mind. But again, I started going back to therapy, working with one therapist for a little bit, but really tightened up around a certain group of people that really were able to kind of just get me in a different space, and I just kind of got my routine going back from there. But I will say it's ebbs and flows, because I mentioned, you know, a friend of mine was murdered, gunned down. We had lost a friend of mine in October of 2023 due to gun violence. He was also a friend of Neil's. And so it's kind of like there's times where you kind of, you feel like things are going well, but then things happen, life happens. And then that was a process that really brought me closer to a lot of my childhood friends. And then this past November, 2024, with Neil's passing, I'm not gonna lie, it's rough. It's rough. It is a process, and I'm figuring it out, because it's just ebbs and flows. But again, the one thing I do think about is I want to become so much closer to God, and I want to focus and pour into my solid circle a lot more. Pouring to myself, but pouring into myself is, and also to my circle of people, making sure they know I love them, and, you know, receive it, and being open to receive that. Yeah.
Go ahead, ZZ.
Okay, so I'll do a little backstory. I am not from America. I am Egyptian and Sudanese. My mom is from Sudan. Sudan is currently under a civil war. It has been for the last 2 years. Civil war to the point where my mom's entire family had to be displaced and removed out of the country. Even my 99-year-old grandmother had to be relocated. So these are things that, unfortunately, we're going through to this day. My mom has 11 siblings, and we have so many cousins. Like, they have each individually have a lot of children. So I have the responsibility of taking care of a lot of family members that are overseas at the moment, with no job opportunities, because they'll go to these different countries and there's no paperwork. They have no education to prove, well, they have no, like, your degree, because they literally had to leave the country. So as far as that, that probably is like still the hardest thing that we're going through as a unit within my family. However, I do understand that, you know, God puts us through tests, right? Sorry, I don't want to get emotional. Anyway, God puts us through tests, right? how you deal with, and I see this quote all the time, like, we're in the fire, and it's not how you're in the fire, it's how you react outside of the fire, or react to the things that are outside of your control. And that's what makes you, a stronger person. And that's what honestly challenges your mental strength. So again, having the resources. Luckily, I do have a really solid job. I have solid individual friends that I know that also help with charity and foundations and so forth. So that being said, like, we have our resources, you have your community, we are all together in this. So yeah, community.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. To bring this to a head, you're fine. Darius does work in the community. Neil was a community activist, and because of Neil, I am now the honcho at a nonprofit. My question to you both is, what can we do and what advice can we give the folks in this room right here on how to keep the conversation going, but not just the conversation, the actual work? Because sometimes you can always say, talk is cheap. No, damn it, talk is free. Like, talk really, really is free. Talk is not cheap. You can say you're gonna do something, but I'm a fan of actual action. You gotta show me. You gotta show me something and really show up. Or I'm like, you bluffing, like you really, really bluffing. And I'm not one, y'all, people that know me know I'm an aggressive person. I don't have time for a bunch of small talk, you're not into that. So what do we do to keep the work going forward?
I would say creating the spaces to have vulnerable conversations, because you never know what people are going through. If I didn't share that, you guys would never know, especially not on my social media, because social media is a fluke. Honestly, like, I'll be dead ass right now. Social media is not real. But having these like open spaces, safe spaces where you can actually come together and see, like, hey, how can I lend a hand? You know what I mean? We may not, again, I'm Sudanese and Egyptian. You guys probably in here are probably from PG, DC. I'm just naming a few. So like, my entire family is overseas. How can I help you become a better person? So offering that kindness, offering that, okay, yes, I'm offering, but how can we actually move forward? How can I actually help you become a better individual? And so forth. We're all connected at the end of the day. We all have resources. And there's so many platforms that we have, whether social media, outside of social media, within this area, that we can help to elevate each other. So community, I'll say community.
Polo, last word.
I would agree and say community, because again, that environment, that circle, that who you're surrounding yourself with, it's crazy. Just talking to some people in here, it was just crazy. I've seen some people at different events or parties, but we got the chance to sit and actually talk for a second. And I come to find out I didn't know this person did this in this industry, and this person was connected to that person. And it's just like, if you talk to people and sometimes have a genuine interest in, what do you, like, who are you? Like, not because I'm checking your pockets, but who are you? What do you do? I could probably help. And that's where the value comes. If, in business and anything in life, you provide value, you'll get value back. And I think that's important. But one of the major things that I talk about are narratives. And so when it comes to social media, one thing I don't like what people weaponize is like, well, you need to go to therapy. That's terrible talk, because that makes it seem like therapy is a bad thing, right? And so the same thing, when we recognize things like that, or just checking in with people randomly, hey, yo, have you talked to anybody ever? Just curious. It doesn't have to be, oh, was she tripping, so I need to do that. And then I think a big part is highlighting the professionals that work in these mental health spaces. If it's somebody from wellness and mindfulness, highlight that. If it's people that are providing different services and doing work in the community, highlight that. The therapist, anyone working in mental health, highlight that. Like, those should be the big content creators. If you know, we got to highlight that. We got to be able to kind of put them on a platform and make it the thing. Because here's the thing with us, we like cool stuff. So one thing about it is you got, you know, if Back said, hey y'all, I'm about to bring some people out and we're gonna come and just talk, I'm pretty sure people would have still came.
They're here right now.
Oh no, for a fact. But Darius is gonna try. He gonna turn something into a party.
Duh.
Exactly. We're gonna have a little music. We're gonna have
libations.
Libations. We're gonna have a little bit of that because we're gonna ease the conversation. And now we're nice and light. And now we're open to have that conversation. And another big thing, the one last thing I'll say is, if you're with your faith, pray for somebody. Don't be afraid to pray for somebody in any room. One of the biggest things that's ever happened to me is when a young lady had pulled me aside at an event and said, I always see you working hard. Do you mind if I just pray with you for a second?
What? She was hating on you.
That's a word.
I said, hold on, what's happening here?
That's a real one.
No.
That's a word.
That's a real one.
I said, hold on now. I said, hold on.
Okay.
But I will tell you this. But in all seriousness, it was amazing, and just just being that, it kind of led me to do something for the next person. It just kind of that pass along. So like, don't hide any of these gifts that we have. Everybody in here has a gift. Everybody has a light to shine. Let that thing shine.
I will say one more thing. A really good Black-owned organization that works in mental health. I've worked with them for numerous years. They're based in Chicago. They take insurance. You don't have insurance, you can talk to them. They're called Alchemy Health, ALKEME Health. It is a group. He is a retired NFL player. His name is Ryan Mundy. And he created this platform for things like this, where he hires therapists, professional Black therapists, professional Black yoga teachers, mindfulness experts, breathwork experts to coach you virtually and have sessions with you virtually. So if you ever are looking for a therapist, 100% support our own, because I'm big on that, and it's Alchemy Health. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ZZ.
And thank you, Vic, for moderating a wonderful panel. Thank you, ZZ. Thank you, Polo. Shout out to such a wonderful conversation for the Purpose Tour 2025 Largo stop. And we all know your health is your wealth. So that's why it's important that we have these spaces, and it's important that we have these conversations. But more importantly, when we talk about your health being your wealth, we have to connect the dots. So I also brought my therapist friend here who is going to connect the dots as we talk about having therapists in your circle as well.
Go.
She's going to be our first question of this evening. And this is the Q&A part of the segment, guys.
Okay, my name is Dr. Gabby Greenoaks. I'm from DC.
Let's go, doctors. Come on, doctor. Come on, doctor.
Okay, so I have a comment, then a question.
Sure.
I loved your comment about sometimes how like the suggestion to seek therapy is weaponized. And so instead of saying like you should go to therapy or kind of framing it from this negative perspective, like Black people deserve a variety of spaces of healing. We deserve, including therapy. So it's not, you have to go to therapy, like you deserve it, right? If that's your outlet. So I love that you touched on that. Historically and currently, Black and brown individuals are significantly underrepresented in this profession. And also there are a lot of barriers to accessing treatment. Insurance, stigma, which I feel like you both have touched on a lot, like all of these different things that impact access to treatment. And so I even know that happened with myself, right? So it's like I have certain areas of privilege, you know, and even it was hard for me to find a Black woman psychologist, and that's specifically what I was seeking because I wanted to see myself mirrored. It was really hard. So with all of, you know, my resources, it was still a struggle. And even thinking of that, Black men are even more underrepresented in this profession. So my question to you would be, as a Black woman psychologist who has like fought to be here, how can we support you all and make it easier to, you know, access us? right?
Say less. I would love that. Thank you for that, by the way, and thank you for the work you do. But
It's so important.
very, I would say, I mean, one thing I'd love to see is like more registries. Like even when you just mentioned who you mentioned, I'm like, I know about big festivals. I know about rappers. I know about these art, all these things. I want to, so I want to have essentially a directory of, black therapists. And it might be something like that exists already. But I mean, shoot, make another one. But then put events around it, put things, because these are you all are the people that need to be highlighted so folks know who to talk to. When we want that, I can say for some people, when some people want that certain look or that certain whatever online, they'll go to this person's page. I think we need more people in that space. And also, too, for like therapists and psychologists, I would love, be more vocal on social. I'm not people can do their work, but let that light shine. Keep talking. You don't have to be the viral person or whatever it is. Just once in a while, just putting your message out there so people know, oh, snap, I didn't even know that you did that.
I would say digestible information, quick bites. We're now in the era of TikTok. We're now in the era of Reels. We're now in the era of popcorn, where everything is so fast. And so we consume things as people, if it's not flashy, if it's not 10 seconds to the next thing. You feel what I'm saying? So maybe giving us, I hate to say it, but a sound bite, but make the sound bites like a savvy sound bite. You feel me? It has to be to the point where we get it, but it's quick and memorable. On to the next. Like, damn, what'd she say? What's her page name again? Something like that. That's all. Make it accessible to us.
We're having something more also like this, where we're able to hear what you do. Obviously what you just said was beautiful, resonate with, I'm sure, all of us in the room. So maybe conversations like this in the future.
Yeah. Being a potential panelist.
I like that. One
On
thing I was going to
panels.
say, what would be amazing is if there was some type of meet your therapist fest.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like how, I mean,
Trademark.
A lot of people do, teacher. We highlight teachers. Teachers are amazing, underpaid, work hard. But but I'm looking at there's different events for different things. But I've never seen therapists highlight. I've never seen that in.
At Therapy Con.
Yeah. I'm not.
Therapy Con.
Hey, but
you got Complex Con. You got Therapy Con.
No, I'm trying to tell you, it might be that, but see, that's part of the stigma. Somebody say you going to Therapy Con, it's like
It's a yoga conference, but
a
yoga festival.
Overall wellness festival. But
I agree.
But highlighting
but black one.
But exactly, and highlighting the people in that space. You know what I mean? So it's like Zizi said, coming out and talking a little bit about, hey, this is what I do, this is my style, and this is what's going on, and then bringing the next one out. I would love that.
Right.
Y'all, this is a fiery Q&A. We got a lot of folks with questions, so we're going to have one of y'all answer the next couple of questions, because I do want to let folks get their questions out. So one person answer the next couple of questions that come at you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kiara Holiday.
Kiki.
I am a licensed clinical social worker. I also own my own mental health practice, district counseling, shameless plug. So I started my practice in 2019, just for everybody in the room. We've had a lot of conversations about therapy. I'm licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and I accept most major insurances. So if you want somebody that looks like you and have gone through the things that everybody in this room has gone through, we are here. So do not listen to the conversations that are being happening on social media, because in this spaces when we have it, we understand what it is that we really need. So really quickly, I want to echo something, but also to echo what you said. Me as a clinician, it took me up until last year to find somebody that really helped me to get to where I am today, right? And I've done this work, and it was a tragic event that I just posted about yesterday that happened 20 years ago that guided me into doing this work. And so that leads me to ask the people that, we're speaking with, is there anything that you can pinpoint that is your reason why you do what it is that you do today?
Well, Kiara, thank you for showing up. What's up? Let me tell you, she a therapist. She'll be out at the club too, and and she gonna tell you, yeah, I'm here.
We love
I'm
the
here.
balance.
We partied together before.
Exactly.
We
Love
partied
it.
together
Yeah.
before. We're
Great
outside.
Great energy.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Nah, but I'm sorry. I got caught in the scene for the party.
Like, when we think about
What-
the work that we do, what is the reason why? Or can you think about, is there something that got you into what it is that you do?
So one of the reasons why I even got in the Great Energy group is because I went to a small school in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Wasn't many of us there at all. And when I came back home, I didn't feel like there was a lot of I didn't know where the community was for young black professionals. I went to the club. I wasn't a club guy. I went to the club and I was like, the energy is off in here. Like, and I'm like, like because I was happy. I was back home. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, it didn't feel like a cookout. Like I thought I was gonna walk into one of those. But what I ended up doing, I just wanted a vibe. I wanted a vibe where people could come, like, dance, have a good time, and you ain't got to be a tough guy. You don't have to do all that or wear, the most expensive things. You can just come, have a good time, be surrounded by great energy. And then from there, then we go and we do yoga. We'll go to the golf course, or we'll do different things. And so we're kind of breaking down some of those barriers and shells. But like, I didn't see a space like that originally. So yeah, that's what led me into it. Exactly.
Good evening. My name is Karina Atchison, and I'm on the Largo Civic Association board, and I also co-partner with the Largo Town Center Association.
Hi, Karina.
Hi. So one of the things I wanted to address in this meeting specifically was, in terms of mental health, is also food service. So as a representative of the residents in Largo, a lot of residents proclaim PG as a food desert. Desiring increase for quality foods, restaurants, including specifically the Hampton Park area right here that we sit in today. For over 20 years, the residents have asked for things like a grocery store and better food quality services outside of fast food, carry out, and all. So my question to you is, how do you associate food quality intake with mental health?
That's such a good question. Also, it is so sad that predominantly black neighborhoods and areas all have food disparity. And it's just so sad to me. But the quality of the food that you eat, the nutrition of the food that you eat, also stems to your mental health. What you put in your system, it will reap out immediately. And unfortunately, because of what we have right now as far as pesticides, GMO, Monsanto, and so forth, the more organic your food is, and this is me being as real as I can, the more organic your food is, the healthier you will be, the less of disease that you will encounter. And disease is not just like what you're diagnosed with as far as cancer. Disease is also mental. Disease is also anxiety and depression, and that all is mental health. It's all encompassing. So yeah, it's so important. And again, if you can get a really good water filter, such as Mountain Valley, it stems from that. If you can get a shower head and change your shower head and make sure it's Jolie's, the brand that I use to shower every day, that also, that all bleeds into your, that all seeps into your bloodstream. So it's the small things that you do that will really change how you live on a day-to-day basis.
She ordered the jerk. I said, you are what you eat. You gotta keep that in mind. We got about 2 more questions to go.
I know what you're going from. How you all doing? No, I got you on that. My name is David Carnegie Hardy Jr., better known as Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Hey, Carnegie.
Good.
Life, man, ups and downs, everything in between. So my question is more so for Polo. I'm gonna say since 2022. I've known you since we were 13 or something like that. But since 2022, we done lost the same friends, and the struggles of not knowing how to reach out, and just, the dreams we had, the thoughts, the ups and downs, of the sadness. How do we go about having a group for black men specifically that we can really get in the room together and have these conversations and not feel like, oh, it's it's not masculine to be here, you know? I want to see those faces and just be able to have the homies there.
So I'm actually working on something, and I would love to work with you on it, but trying to do more men's meetups. And so the biggest things that happens is, like, as men, we don't have a space, and even after the loss of Blake in 2023, Neil in 2024, it taught me in my circle of men that that's so important. Like, we need each other. Like, honestly, truth be told, Blake and Neil were both fathers. Neil had a son. Blake had 3 kids. And so I don't have any children, but I was going to lean on them when that time came. But I don't, I have other friends that have kids, but it's as men, we need to kind of share insights and network. Hey, bro, do you do this? Or what happens when your woman does it? And this, that, and other. Because we're going to go against different challenges in life, and it's our job to provide and protect. So we need to share best practices and resources. And then also, too, when you talk to yourself all the time, because sometimes we self-made and, we handle it the way we handle it, you're just bouncing the same sounds and thoughts off your own mind. So sometimes you can think that you're right, but
and be dead wrong.
Exactly. But I think I'm gonna talk to you about that. But like putting some men's meetups together and looking at just a men's group, but that's gonna be important because brothers just need to get together and chill. Like not a party where it's like, okay, we got the ladies coming. No. We just men in here. We just we're grilling, we're talking, we're golfing, whatever the case, whatever we may do. That's gonna be important, but even before that, I'm understanding how important it is to like find myself in spaces like that. So I try to go hoop when I can, just to put myself in a space. I just try to go hoop with some brothers.
Can you hoop? Like, are you nice? Because I hoop.
Come on now.
I definitely hoop.
You hoop?
Ooh.
No, I don't. But
Ooh.
it's cool.
I thought you just joking. Come on now. I'm trying to tell you to leave.
Sheesh.
6 feet.
I say this
6
because
feet.
I can hoop.
6 feet.
And I played in college, and I played in high school. I played at Towson in Maryland and in Hopkins. Oh, yeah, I would school you any day.
Oh, say less. Oh, we can do that. Yeah.
Are we going to
yoga
set
fool
something
you.
up?
Okay.
Are we setting something up?
Say less.
Can we set it
We
up?
gonna
The
keep it going.
prelude.
Yeah, bring the
Okay,
cameras.
let's move on. Let's move on.
Hello, I'm
Hi.
Good evening.
Catherine.
Hi, Catherine.
And actually, through some of the answers that you guys gave, and you actually gave one of my strategies in your comment leading up to the question and
Okay.
answer. But today, the last 30 days, the world in this country is topsy-turvy. Personally, I put myself on a very strict information diet. I need to be in the know, but I don't need to wallow in all of the details because I can feel that it stresses me deeply. And I'm using the word stress, but it's even deeper than that. So the world that we're in today, the topsy-turviness of all this craziness that is happening, what is one major strategy you would suggest to people so that we can get through this, so that we can get through the next, 4 years of crazy, knowing that it may take us 100 years to recover?
I would say what you said you do. It's a diet. You cut certain things out. You don't have to consume everything. Like you said, you consume just enough to keep you in the know, but you don't deep dive into every piece of information. You read a headline on NPR. If it's the same headline on CNN, the same headline on Fox News, I got it, I'm good. I already know because I looked at NPR, Fox, and CNN. I'm straight, right? You feel what I'm saying? If I watch one interview, we know what's going on. We talk to each other. We know what it's given. It's a diet, and it's a diet across the board. Information, what social media, and also what you allow people to actually talk to you about. It is okay to say, nah, not today. It is okay to say, hey, I'm good. Just give me a call later. Can you text me instead? Because this phone call may not work out. You feel me? I'm in a tunnel. I'm going to lose service. There's ways to combat it in a respectful manner. I'm known to say, can we text? I'm on a call right now. I know what you're going to say to me, so I don't want to talk to you on the phone. That's my diet. You know, I call it my one-arm restraining order. I keep your ass right here. And because I know once you get into that bubble, here you go. I don't want to hear about, DJT all over again. I know what it is. So I say diet, and that protects your peace ultimately. Diet. That's what I got for you.
I guess I'm the last question. But yeah, my name is David Ogunfor.
What up, Dave?
I'm a young entrepreneur getting into the space of self-awareness, which is really closely aligned with mental health. But what I wanted to ask was, outside of the normal habits that you have, are there any tools that you use to kind of track your progress when it comes to mental health?
Yes. So, sorry. I mean, I have a bunch. So let me just go off heart. I journal. I journal a lot. So I think I'm an Aries by nature. So we kind of like bottle a lot in. So I journal. But other things I really lean on having good, golden, solid friends. Like, you know what I mean? I am single, unfortunately. I don't have a partner. But when that time comes, it will. So having that unconditional love, and I say this, like creating that safe space with your friends and family members, near or far, are really important tools. Because again, you'll see when you get into the space, you're gonna pour so much energy onto everyone else that it needs to be poured back into you.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I guess I got the last question.
Here's Prince. Here we go. The wild card. The real wild card. Other than Khalil.
I am the media prince. If you don't know who I am, Google is your best friend. So I have a two-part question. First, can we give a round of applause for these three black giants right here this is a great. So my first question is first to the audience, and it's going to be to you three. So how many of you guys have people that bring you their problems? And raise your hand if you could differentiate if it's mental health or if it's bullcrap. All right. So my question to you three is, how do you differentiate when people have mental health problems or when it's just straight up bullcrap?
What's actually crazy, it depends on, sometimes depends on like who that person is, and if I have a prior relationship with them or familiar with them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, some people have walked up to me like dead in a club or in a party and just said, hey, bro, I am not doing okay. Or you'll see people, or there's certain people that you'll tell, you can see something's going on, and you kind of just check them, like, hey, how you doing? Hey, man, I'm, day by day. Like, and it's like, bro, you're 25. Like, it's like and so I think that, like, one, checking in with people, but then also, too, you have some folks like, they'll complain. And that happens. That's a part of a season sometimes for some people. You can, like, if you don't focus on God, you don't focus on your blessings, so you don't understand, like, you're not as grateful for things. So when things are happening to you, you feel like they're happening to you, not for you. And so, like, that's one of the biggest things. And so it's like, without kind of checking up, kind of like, hey, well, when last time you prayed on it, talked to God, man, and it's kind of like your mind's so frazzled that you can't really think it. So I think it's prior relationships with who that person is, and and then just and yeah, really knowing who that person is and kind of like what their backstory on what the problem is essentially.
Now, do you think that there is a stigma, since we're in a world where they're opening this media, this mental health world in such different conglomerates, that they're now, people just think that they could just classify everything as a mental health issue? Do you think that there is a stigma with that openness and how people are just putting their get in the ways as mental health problems?
Yes, it's 100% a stigma, especially in the Black community. Especially in the Black community. And it's even worse with Black men. I'm not sure why. It's pretty sad that it's 2025, that we're still going through it to this day. We have numerous, literally infinite resources for not only Black women, Black children, but especially for Black men. And different tiers. You have a psychologist here, you have a clinician over there, you have a yoga teacher, mindfulness meditation practitioner, soon to be wellness advocate. There's so many different avenues and so many different realms of mental health and wellness, and it should not be a stigma anymore.
Yes, give it up for the wonderful panelists. And before y'all get out of here, because we have something for you, Vic, we're gonna have y'all stay up here. As we know, our good friend Neil, this was a tribute to him, this whole Stop for the Purpose tour. Don't leave just yet. Y'all in for something nice. It's too much commotion unless you're going to the bar. I was proud to represent Zachary Parker on his campaign for council for Ward 5, where Neil is was a proud resident of over in Ivy City. So that office wanted to extend their condolences the same way that we had the PG County office had condolences at the memorial. So we wanted to make sure that we got that done. I ain't gonna be able to read it because I'm Neil's friend and I don't want to start crying. So I got my good friend Gigi, who doesn't really know him that well, so she'll be able to read through this one.
I'm happy to say I've at least been touched by the legacy. That part at least is very real. I think the energy that's in this room, the love that's in this room, the pride in the legacy that's been extended by Neil and his family is truly incredible. And so for me, I'm moved even if I did not know him personally. So glad to lend my voice to this for sure. I'll just read this briefly and then we'll also present it to the family. And this is coming from Zachary Parker's desk, who is the Ward 5 council member, like Kelsey mentioned. And so it says, on behalf of the nearly 90,000 residents of the District of Columbia's Ward 5 community, I wish to express my deepest sympathy for the passing of Cornelius Neil McDonald. A native Washingtonian, Neil was the firstborn child of Maria Butler. He grew up attending the Archdiocese Catholic schools, Immaculate Conception, Holy Redeemer, and St. Francis, and Prince George County's public schools, graduating from Eleanor Roosevelt High School. His youth was marked by enthusiastic involvement in sports, including soccer and football at Ward 5's Harry Thomas Recreation Center. He was also a talented musician, co-founding the popular go-go band XIB, period. Neil later pursued a career in acting in California, and after the devastating loss of his brother Devin to gun violence at the hands of someone struggling with their own mental health issues, Neil founded Stay Solid Youth Mental Health, YMH, a nonprofit organization committed to addressing the intersection of mental health challenges and community violence. This passion and dedication inspired him to enroll at the University of the District of Columbia's Accelerated Master's Program in Psychology, with plans to become a licensed therapist. Neil was a beloved father, brother, son, and friend, and he poured back into his community as an activist, youth social worker, and advocate. He has left an indelible mark on our beautiful Ward 5 community and the countless lives of people who knew him. Neil's memory is cherished by his son, Zane McDonald, mother, Maria Butler, sisters, Bianca Beatty and Ashley Rooks, grandparents, Deborah Butler, Shirley Rooks, and Johnny Rooks, father, Kelvin Rooks, and many extended family members, friends, and neighbors. I honor Neil's legacy and mourn his passing alongside his family and friends. Very truly yours, Zachary Parker, Ward 5 Council Member, Council of the District of Columbia.
And if we wanted to give Neil's mom a round of applause as well, thank you so much, Vic. And thank you so much, Miss Maria, for having such a wonderful son. This is again on behalf of the office of Zachary Parker, council member for Ward 5. And I do want to give a moment for both Marcus and Vic I was trying to get my words together. I want to give a moment for Marcus and Vic to share a word, about their friend. Marcus, a member of XIB, and Vic, the CEO now of Stay Solid, Neil's nonprofit.
I would say I met Neil many, many years ago. We were doing an event for Good Projects, and I recall we were sitting at Have Smoke, working on the anti-gala. And I was there. Neil got there last, and Neil walked in. I remember what he had on: white T-shirt, gray sweat shorts, DC New Balance. You know how we do. You know how we do. And he sat beside me, and I said, "I promise you, at the funeral, Steph said the same." I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Neil." And I was like, "Okay, you gotta transform my voice. Okay, we gonna go with Optimus Prime. Let's do it." And he sat beside me. And we exchanged numbers, and we became really, really good friends. And I would say we became best friends when Devin passed away, and he invited me to join this nonprofit as his internal CEO and help him kind of run the business. And I would say the last 6 years with him as my best friend, business partner, probably were the best that I've done. I've learned the most from him. We were always Batman and Robin, in my opinion. But Neil always saw it as Batman and Batman. I was never the deuce. I was always the uno. He was always the uno. He made me always feel seen, always feel heard. My opinion always mattered. He asked my thoughts first, last, and I was always his deciding factor in things that he did. And oftentimes, even with friendships, you often don't always have a voice amongst your friends. If it's a squad of y'all, it's a leader. And with Neil, there were two alphas side by side, he and I. And I appreciate him for seeing me, believing in me, putting battery in my back, and making sure that I was always seen and always heard. I love you, Neil.
Yeah, Neil and I, we met back at middle school when XIB was just forming, because I remember Neil and Abu had started off this go-go band called XIB. They started at Kettering Middle School, and then I remember some people in here know Reds. Yeah. So yeah. So Red said that it was 8th grade. Red said, "Hey man, Neil called me and told me to come to their band practice," because XIB was a Kettering Middle School band essentially. And then Reds had this Ernest Just band, but they were like fake beefing. And so Neil was a leader of his band, Reds was a leader of his band, and so Reds was like, "Hey man, come with me to this practice so they don't jump me." Man, we took the bus over to my guy Pork Chop's house. Yeah. So we took the bus over there. We went down in that basement. We went down to the basement and kind of met everybody. But Neil from Jump Street was just if he was about something, he really about to be about it. So it wasn't any yo, I'm about to see what these guys on and welcome them. He's like, "Nah, man, you hop behind here, see what's going on. Let's make this thing happen." And Neil has always been that guy growing up. And Neil would be, he's definitely the one to walk in the room with his chest out and say, "Neil's here. I'm Neil, who's here?" And growing up, just throughout that time from middle school, high school, seeing Neil in the band, being a light in that area, being everybody knew Neil. But we were young at that time, so we were young and running around and wilding out sometimes. But I've seen Neil grow into a man, though. And I've seen when he did lose his brother Devin, the Neil I knew at a younger age would have been on a completely different time frame. He would have been, it would have been something different. But Neil took that and said, "I'm going to help." And the same way he shows up, he was about that. He actually put that together, walking around with that notebook. He about to put some things together and actually made it happen. And so it was just tough when you see that. And it's tough when you see that. It can be disheartening sometimes because it's like, man, yo, like I've seen a dude really like flip a whole 180 and like really like go out there and help somebody when like he could have went in the other direction. But that's just a testament of like who Neil was and how like how he was willing to make a change. Cause he used to say stuff to me from time to time. He'd be like, man, yo, I'm not like I used to be. I'm better. Like I'm not like I used to be. And what he was talking about like his mental and his mindset about how he handles situations. Cause I know like Neil, I mean, I say this all the time. Neil, that person you can call, he could be in Africa. He'll show up around the corner in 30 seconds. Like if you say, man, it's a problem, Neil gonna show up for you. And he always did. And it was a night before Neil's passing, I needed a go-go photo booth drop. And I'm like, you know what, who can I call and is actually going to like get something done?
Neil.
I was like, let me call Neil. Neil like, give me 15 minutes, I'm gonna call you right back. Then he hit me right back. He was like, man, I'll drop the photo booth off up there. I'm like, bro, where did you even find somebody? But that's who Neil was. He continued to show up even when, you know, things were tough. And that's something I can always admire and keep in my heart and kind of walk by with my friend and that I learned from him. But yeah, man, love you, Neil. And I'm just so proud. Like I'm just so proud of him because like he's still doing it.
One-on-ones.
Still doing it. But yeah, I just want to say, man, thank you all for being here and being a part of this. Baxter, appreciate you, man, keeping it going. Yeah.
All right, let's get it hype again. When I say good, y'all say projects. Good? Good? When I say stay, y'all say solid. Stay? Stay? And I'm going to give it back to another one of Neil's best friend, Darius Baxter, to close us out, CEO of Good Projects.
Man, can we please give everyone in here a round of applause, man? Man, I'm not going to wrap y'all up because a lot of amazing things have been said tonight. First and foremost, I just want to really thank our amazing panelists. Can we please give them one more round of applause, please? Victor, Polo, ZZ, thank you guys for blessing us with your knowledge. Thank you for letting God use you in this amazing way. I say this simple prayer every single night. I'm sorry I'm a little stuffy. Allergy season is like really hitting me. My Claritin is wearing off, but it's the allergy season. It's the allergies. That's why my eyes water it. But I say, thank you, Gigi. But I say a simple prayer when I go to bed at night. I ask that when people see me, that they see God. And when people hear me, I pray that they hear God. If I have the opportunity to touch someone, I pray that they feel God. And when I heard the three of you all on this panel tonight, I felt God. So thank you all for letting them use you in this amazing way. To Gigi's point, this truly was a brave space this evening. Mental health is something that, as Black people, we don't talk enough about. And the great thing is that we're going to be able to transition into a period of networking post this panel. So I just want I'm going to do just a quick straw poll real quick. If you're a clinician, can you raise your hand in here? You a clinician? If you're a doctor, can you raise your hand in here? If you're a doctor in training, can you raise your hand in here? If you're a healer, can you raise your hand in here? So there's, I hope so. If you're an entrepreneur, can you raise your hand in here? There we go. But I'm saying all of that to say that there's is amazing people in here that everybody needs the opportunity to meet. So I pray that you stick around. We have tons of snacks in the back. Please take all of them. One way, if you have not already invested in Good Projects in the Black Justice Fund, one of the ways that you can support us is by eating the snacks and drinking the drink, because we do pay storage costs. So please take that stuff off our hand. Please help us. Please help us by helping yourself to the snacks and the drinks. We're going to turn the lights down a little bit. Enjoys the amazing vibes from DJ Kid Fresh. But thank you guys. I really have nothing else to say, man. I'll see you all.